Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for laughing in my cousin's face when she tried to stage an intervention for my drug use? I, 27M, have a condition which causes me to overproduce earwax. I don't tell people about it because I was bullied for it growing up. Only my wife and parents know. Every other day, I have to put medication in each ear, let it sit, then flush it out with a rubber-tipped syringe. This prevents ear infections, vertigo, permanent hearing loss, and worsening of my tinnitus. I have dealt with all of these things to some extent, so I stay on top of my eardrop regimen. If my alarm goes off when I'm with others, I go to the bathroom for 20 minutes and knock it out. If I don't follow my schedule I forget, so I can't put it off. 2 weeks ago, my mom hosted family dinner. My cousin Kara, 37F, saw me waltz off to the bathroom to do my thing, syringe in hand, and asked what I was doing. I said just a minor medical thing. She kept pushing but I didn't want to say anything because she gossips. I told her it's personal and scooted past. When I left, she was standing in the hallway. She asked what took so long and why the toilet didn't flush. I said none of her business. She said she didn't mean to offend. Last weekend, my friend called me to invite me out to lunch with some buddies. He said to meet up at his house so we wouldn't have to drive separately. I arrive at his house to find Kara and my friends sitting solemnly on the couch. Kara said they were here to talk about my problem and that they just wanted to help. I said there is no problem. Suddenly it clicked in my head what this was about. I couldn't help but laugh a little bit out of shock. She asked what was so funny, and I said first of all why didn't you talk to my wife or my parents? She said she didn't want to involve my enablers, which just made me laugh harder. She looked annoyed and said she was done trying to help. I said that's alright by me. She stormed out. I explained to my friends. They knew I have a condition but never pressed me on it. I guess when Kara approached them they thought I was lying. Obviously I'd rather they know than worry about me being an addict when I'm not. I thanked them for their support anyways. Kara had apparently reached all of my friends through my social media. We all got a good hearty laugh out of it, which Kara must have heard because she was, of course, eavesdropping. She burst back in and told me to tell them the truth, to which I said I did. My friend kicked her out. We went for lunch and I thought that was that. My mom called me yesterday and told me she had talked to Kara about the whole thing and explained. She said Kara was very upset with me and essentially called me an a-hole for not explaining, and laughing in her face and embarrassing her. I said I was embarrassed and that Kara had no right to my info. I think she shouldn't go around snooping and making assumptions. My mom still thinks I should apologize. ETA, she didn't see my alarm go off, just ran into me on her way from the kitchen. My alarm isn't for dinner time, it's for 9:15 p.m, I do it at home most of the time. Top comments. Not the a-hole. She owes you a major apology as her spreading untrue information about a possible drug addiction could have caused you to be harmed. What if somebody shared this information with your employer? Depending on your profession and your employer, you could have been suspended or lost your job. Not the a-hole, rather obviously. I'll refrain from waxing poetic, but you have every right to be irritated about someone prying into a medical condition that you'd prefer to keep private. Not the a-hole, obviously. Kara made a complete fool out of herself. You didn't have to help at all. Seriously, who says this person went into the bathroom for a mysterious reason, once that I know about, they must have a drug problem. And then to stage an intervention, wow. No. Not the a-hole. No apology needed. I would have laughed my butt off too. She took a small thing that was none of her business and inflated it into a big production that is now all about her hurt feelings. Dramatic much? Not the a-hole. I went through something similar with someone who saw me giving myself insulin and assumed that it was something else. I was meeting a bunch of people for dinner, and gave myself my insulin shot while I was in my truck. Well, someone saw me in the parking lot and assumed I was shooting up, then ran right into the restaurant and about chewed their lips off in their excitement to tattle on me. I was thoroughly embarrassed, but I also had my insulin kit in my purse and got the joy of verbally cutting them off at the knees in front of everyone. Even so, it was still horrible, because people at all the other tables were staring at the drama. I left without eating because it upset me so bad, and then later I had a blood sugar crash from taking insulin without a meal. The person never apologized either. To this very day I think they're still firmly convinced that I am a junkie and fooling everybody. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law to go F herself at her baby's sip and see? My wife's sister, Jen, 33F, and her husband, Matt, 35M, welcomed their first child about 4 months ago. Jen didn't want a baby shower but decided on doing a sip and see for close relatives to meet the baby. This happened last Saturday. My wife has met the baby before this, but it was my first time seeing them since the birth. About 2 months ago, my dad passed away unexpectedly in his sleep. It's been a really difficult time for me. But I'm in therapy and on antidepressants, both of which are helping. I wasn't really looking forward to attending the sip and see, but it meant a lot to my wife that I come with her and she kind of pressured me to come since I hadn't seen the baby yet. The event was just close family, about 15 of us total, and very informal. About an hour into the event, Jen asked me if I wanted to hold the baby. I told her I didn't really want to, but she pretty much shoved the baby into my arms. She then sat next to me and told me that she was sorry about my dad and that they regretted not being able to attend the funeral because of the baby. I thanked her and told her not to worry about the funeral, I understand. She then went on this weird tangent about a new life springing from death and renewal of energy. I had no idea what she was talking about and just kind of nodded along. Then she said that she hopes seeing and holding a beautiful baby will help me get over my loss. It was a weird comment and I looked at her and told her, no, this is not helping me get over the death of my dad. She got defensive and told me that it was supposed to be a joyous day to celebrate a new life and that I should be happy and not dwell on my dad's death. I didn't want to cause a scene in front of everyone, but I was pissed. I handed Jen her baby back and leaned in close to her and whispered, "Go F yourself, Jen." I then got up and walked over to my wife and told her that I needed to leave. I told her she can stay if she wants, but I need to get out of there as soon as possible. She asked me why and I told her I would talk to her about it on the drive home or later if she wants to stick around. By that time, Jen had gotten up and was on a warpath. She came up to me, still holding the baby, and poked her finger at me telling me I have no right to talk to her like that. That got everyone's attention and now everyone was looking at us. Matt came over to ask what was going on, my wife was confused, Jen was basically yelling, the baby was starting to cry. It was a mess. I told my wife I need to leave and she needs to make a decision right then. She ended up coming home with me. I explained what happened on the drive home and she said she understood why I was upset by Jen's comments and agreed she was out of line, but I shouldn't have said that to her. My wife has been getting a lot of grief from Jen and her parents, basically calling me the biggest a-hole they've ever met. I don't even know if an apology will help. Top comments. Not the a-hole, Jen made your father's death about her and her baby, which is weird. There are some people who need to make everything about themselves and Jen is definitely that person. Not the a-hole. My condolences to you for your loss. Jen behaved inappropriately, first, handing you her baby when you already said you didn't want to hold the baby. That's odd, who does that? Secondly, she tried to spout some pseudo-spiritual, poetic BS when you didn't ask and clearly weren't interested. Many people don't like cussing, but I think she brought it upon herself. You're also grieving, and she kept pushing and became defensive even after you said it wasn't helping. She could have simply apologized, gathered her child and moved to another guest. You overreacted. Your SIL's remarks went off the rails and you lost control. I don't think you should apologize. Sister-in-law should be willing to accept that she struck the wrong nerve with her over-solicitous comments about death, etc. Her baby is not some vehicle of healing. She's just one of those mothers who can't think beyond her own pride of being a mother. Not the a-hole if sister-in-law and in-laws want to make this a forever conflict, not your problem. They should have the maturity to realize that sister-in-law just went too far. Soft everyone sucks here. Completely out of line for anyone to tell someone, unsolicited, how long they should grieve a loss or what they should do to get over it. Totally valid to be frustrated and even angry about that. However, while I understand your frustration, telling her to F herself wasn't an appropriate response. You could have removed yourself without having said that. All that said, I am genuinely sorry for your loss and hope you're able to grieve and heal in whatever way you're able. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she and her husband need to admit they effed up and find a way to move on? My parents divorced when I, 18M, was 6. My younger sister was 4 and my younger brother was 3. They shared custody 50-50ths of us ever since, though now I don't have a custody thing set up because I'm an adult now and no longer part of any of that. I stay with my dad now. Mom remarried when I was 11 and my siblings were 9 and 8. Her husband was divorced, had 2 kids who were 8 and 6. He had primary custody of them, but in the summer they'd get longer with their mom. My mom and her husband moved in together a month before the wedding. From that point on they created these really strict, really weird, and really crazy rules that basically made sure we were never a blended family and there was always animosity. Those rules were, if you want permission for something, ask your new parent, not the regular one. No bio siblings only playing, everyone has to mix. No closed bedroom doors. We want to see if you're mixing every day. You'll tell the people in the family one thing you love about them. You must give everyone hugs before leaving the house. No step/half nonsense in this house. There were others. Those were the most damaging ones. My mom told me she wanted us to be a happy blended family and she did not want favoritism of parents or siblings. She told me I didn't just have a brother and sister anymore, I had 2 of each. I also had a second dad. They enforced this too, or tried to. The hugs never took off and I never ever told her husband or his kids stuff I loved about them. I never loved them to begin with. The rules led to fighting, to us pretty much causing chaos if they took us places. We were all grounded pretty much all the time at their house. We also started doing stuff to make sure family vacations couldn't happen together. Her husband's kids would make plans with their mom to go to her weeks he and mom had a vacation booked for. My siblings and I would ask dad to book his vacation first and put it in their app. My mom and her husband would get so frustrated and they'd try giving us these talks. Mom would come to me and say I was the oldest and needed to set an example. And now that I no longer go to mom's house, my siblings don't want to either and make a bigger deal out of it. Mom called me yesterday and told me I needed to help create the family unit they fought so hard for before it's too late. She mentioned me being the oldest again and how I should be there for a week when we can all be a family. I told her no, I don't want to, and we're not a family. I told her they effed up. They need to admit it and they need to find a way forward because none of the kids they set so many rules for want to be family. Mom started crying down the phone to me asking why I wanted to ruin her marriage and rejected the family they were trying to be. How could I say they failed when we wouldn't even try? Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole, family can't be forced on you by rules, those are just crazy. I would get out and never come back after getting 18. Opie replies. Right? They are so crazy that I actually had to take a photo for my dad back then to prove to him they existed. He was speechless. Not the a-hole. You lived in a house 50% of the time where you couldn't close your bedroom door for 7 years. Damn. How does anyone create such an insane rule and not know they are completely in the wrong? I'm so sorry you had to grow up like that, Opie. Opie replies. Yep. Even at night it was open because if we had any sleepover or whatever with our bio siblings it was a no-no. The fact your mom and stepdad's crazy rules made you all work together as team to thwart them at every turn is hilarious. They got exactly what they wanted, kids who work together as a team, just against them. Not the a-hole. Your mom needs to realize to cut out all that crap now or all kinds are going to cut them off when they turn 18. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not prioritizing my baby after his birth? When I tell you this woman went to hell to back to deliver our child. It was apparently an easy delivery, yet it was more gruesome than my worst nightmares. I had read it all but was truly unprepared. So in the heat of the moment, I forgot to look at our baby. It may sound cruel, but I was fine with the nurse telling us that the baby is healthy. The woman I had promised to love and protect was crying, howling, looking like she was fighting death all because of me. My entire focus was on her and her doctor. My mom asked me how the baby looked when he came out. She apparently wanted to relate back to how I looked. I said I don't know and told her why. Apparently, I was in the wrong for that. She told my wife's mother, who echoes the sentiment. Apparently, I got the rare opportunity that most men in their era never did and screwed it up. One of the comments was passed in my wife's earshot while we thought she was asleep. She wasn't, heard it, and started crying over how I don't love our child. That, I don't mind. She's still zonked out on hormones and pain. Luckily she quickly fell asleep and hasn't mentioned it since. Hoping, she didn't register that interaction. But yeah, am I the a-hole and a whipped husband who messed it up? Top comments. Not the a-hole. My husband and I had a deal that if for any reason during the birth medical staff walk away with the baby, he is 100% to go with the baby. I had an unplanned C-section and they took my baby away to weigh her and he absolutely refused to go with them. I was so upset with him. That was not what we agreed. He tells me she was in eyesight, he could see her and that she was safe and immediately brought to me, but that in that moment his concern and fear was 100% for me. Our baby was born healthy and well and I was cut open and semi-conscious. He said he does not apologize and would do it again. He will never apologize for worrying for or protecting me. I know he approaches our baby, now toddler, with the same fierce protectiveness. It is not either/or, he has enough love to go around, and I know had our baby not been 100% healthy he would have gone with her immediately as we agreed. You can love and want to protect them both. OP. I don't care what anyone says, this is next level dedication to your wife. I think it is amazingly sweet. Keep it up because it will make for a great marriage. I'm sure you love your child. This situation is not a measure of how much you love your child. It's a measure of how much you love your wife. Not the a-hole. My dad fainted when I was born. My mom still jokes with him about it, but it didn't stop him from being a great dad for the past 33 years. Everyone reacts in that moment differently. The thing that's important is you were present and making sure everyone involved is okay. No idea why you're getting so much crap for this. Not the a-hole. Childbirth is a hard process, and I don't blame you, as a spectator, for feeling overwhelmed, powerless, and not thinking clearly. Your focus was on your wife. You clearly love her dearly and felt bad for the pain she was experiencing. You will have all your life to look at your baby. Congrats. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.